Hello everyone, got a question for you. If I told you some rules, say if you were having a game of chess or drafts, and every 5 minutes I change the rules, could you keep up? In the UK, the rules on COVID-19 are changing every day. But not just in England, regions are changing every day. Every time I watch the news, they're changing the rules and regulations. Today I've watched the news and I found out that from midnight tonight in the northeast, Northumberland, where I live, that you can't mix outside of your household in public. But you can still go to the pub without the mask on and drink with as many people as whatever's there. So you can't go and visit your granny, but you can go and mix with a load of people in a pub. It was my friend's birthday yesterday, so I went out to the pub on the afternoon and had me tomato juice because I don't drink alcohol normally. And they got me to fill in a questionnaire, track and trace. And then while they're in the pub, everyone could sit where they want. The people I was sitting with, I had no idea who they were. Okay? Now then, as you know, I'm not 100% believer in the COVID-19. Mainly because if you have a bad heart and you have COVID-19 and you have a heart attack, then put it down as a COVID-19 death. Now, some people say they don't, some people say they do. Now, it's 42,000 people died in England, which is a tragedy. But when you look at 3 years ago of the flu, 20,000 people died. It's okay, so it's double that. But there was no mass shutdown of businesses, shops, and all these billions of pounds. Where's it all come from? And what about the people that don't go to hospital? I've said this before. What about the people that don't go to hospital because they tell you, oh, you can't go because it's COVID-19, or well, just stay at home, or whatever. What if you've got a bad heart and you think, I'm not going to go to the hospital because I'll end up getting COVID-19, or I don't want to waste the time. So you'll sit there, pins in the chest, thinking, it'll go, I'm not going to bother people. You have a heart attack. Now, what about the suicides? Because people on a state of depression. A friend of mine tried to commit suicide last week. What about all these people that are doing this, that really are isolated? They don't get to see anybody. Now, some people like myself like it that way, but there's a lot of people cannot isolate that need human contact, otherwise they suffer greatly. To be honest with me, I don't care if I see people. That's just the way I am. But what about the people who suffer with mental illness? I suffer from depression and anxiety, but there's a lot of people that really need to be social with people. Otherwise, they'll just sit and ferment and go mad. But it would help if the government had a clue what they're doing. They were saying the track and trace will be in place by 1st of June, I think it was. The BBC did a documentary last night and showed one of their reporters worked for, I think it was 3 or 4 months, and never spoke to anyone. Most of the time the computers were down, they weren't ready. When the computers were working, just sat for hours and hours and hours at every shift. Never got a call. Never got a call to get in touch with anyone. So something's not working there. Now all these centres popping up all over the place. The testing centres. I live in Blythe. My friend the other day, she decided to see if she could get tested. She lives in Blythe. So she got on the phone. Many hours later, she got an appointment in Inverness, 300 miles away. Yet there's a testing centre a mile and a half away from her house. Something's organisation in this is pathetic. They're changing the regulations every day. They are throwing massive fines out for people. They need to have a lockdown, don't have a lockdown. But if you're going to do it, have it nationwide and let everyone know the rules. Now, I was going to take part in a biking event last week, and we had to make sure with the police if we could go ahead and do it. We contacted the police. Police told me, can't tell me. So I decided to phone some of the police. And when you phone them, they tell you straight away. If it's to do with rules on COVID-19, contact the government. You contact the government webpage, and it's 2 weeks out of date. And yet the rules change every day, one way or the other. I'm not saying another government could do it better. What I'm saying is, pull together, set of rules so that we can all follow them, and stick to them. Every couple of days, the rules change. If I talk to 5 friends a day, none of them's going to have the same opinion on what the rules are, because they're not clear. What they say is, you have to stay within your family unit that live in the household. Okay. And then they tell you can go out and drink at a pub. Really? Now then, there's a family I know had a bit of a party last night. Loads of people around their house. And they've got a young son who's supposed to be social isolating. Locked him in a bedroom while they had a party downstairs. Now I'm going to report that to the police today. Let's see what happens. You know, this woman, she has a young child who's a vulnerable child. He has disabilities. He is supposed to be self-isolating. And she's having a party in a house with loads of different people. Friend of mine, got 2 granddaughters, goes to the same school. One of them, best friend in the school, got a letter saying you've been in contact with someone with COVID, self-isolate. And my friend's granddaughter, no letter. They hang around with the same people, attend the same classes at school. So they would have been in contact with the same person. So how come she hasn't gotten a letter saying to self-isolate? There's no organisation. It's like the blind leading the stupid. I mean, blind leading the blind. No, I was right the first time. The blind leading the stupid. Set regulations, stick to them across the board so we understand what's going on. No wonder people aren't sticking to the rules. When I was round Blythe yesterday, hardly anybody had a mask on. A lot of people had them on, mind, but without knowing the rules. I mean, do you have to wear a mask outside? They've never made that very clear. I know you have to inside the shop. It's all very confusing. Anyway, the rules will probably change tomorrow anyway, so why bother yourself learning them? That's the way I see it. And you know my beliefs on COVID-19, whether it's man-made or natural, the amount of deaths are exaggerated massively. I would say out of all the, say there's 42,000 people died in this country through COVID-19. I think that figure's more like 20,000. In that case, it comes in line with the flu epidemic of 3 years ago. When they start classing every case, whether it's you've got cancer or a stroke or, you know, stuff like that, and you've got COVID-19, they're saying you died of COVID-19 related illness, which is stupid. If you've got cancer and you're dying, doesn't matter if you get COVID-19 or not. You know, it's still a terminal illness. And they're not keeping good records. On the documentary that was on last night, they've got a track to say that someone in the nursing home had COVID-19. They tried to track them, no answer on the phone. They had no idea what the person's name was, what nursing home they were in. All they knew is they put down employment as a nursing home and phone number. And they couldn't get in touch with them. So that person's working in a nursing home, spreading the virus, or spreading whatever it is they've got. Now, when the track and trace does work, they will phone you, attempt to phone you 10 times. But the code they use, I think it's an 0300 number, something like that. It's the same that all the insurance companies type to use, you know, I think it's 0300. So when I say a number like that, I don't answer it. I would say like 60-70% of most people were sick of being asked if we're insured, or sick if we want being involved in an accident, or sick asking if we want a mortgage. So we just don't answer them. 10 times they'll try and phone you. And if not, they give up. Oh well. I'm glad I watched that documentary last night. Normally the BBC are very biased, but for once I think they're getting it right. Okay, everyone. That's my rant for the day. Ignore this message if you want. You're all gonna die eventually. Toodles, everyone. And no matter what is out there, whether it's man-made or natural, try and stay as safe as you can. Follow the rules that you know. Wear a mask. Wash your hands a lot. Don't be in contact with people that you don't have to be. Self-isolate as much as you can. Don't go to busy pubs. Okay then. I mean, in the gym this morning, there was 4 of it in the gym. The whole gym. There must be something like 60 machines in the gym, plus weights and everything. And we were all at least 15 to 20 feet apart. At least. That, I class as safe. Let's try and keep things like that, nice and safe. Right, Toodles. It's me rant of the day. Enjoyed it. I certainly did. Doodles.